Welcome, deep divers. So picture this scenario. You're managing, say, a huge logistics hub, maybe a busy retail complex over several floors, or even some critical site way out in the middle of nowhere.
Hmm.
You need eyes everywhere, total reliability, and you need visuals so sharp, you can pick out tiny details, maybe on a package or a face in a crowd, even when it's pitch black.
Right. Clarity is key in those situations.
Exactly. And maybe this is the most crucial part. You don't just need a system that passively records what happened. You need something that can actively prevent things from happening, something smart that doesn't need someone watching it 24/7.
Yeah, moving from reactive to proactive.
So what would that ideal sort of next-gen surveillance system actually look like?
Well, today we're not just imagining. We're doing a deep dive into the reality of this advanced surveillance tech. We're really focusing in on one specific, pretty formidable piece of hardware. The Uniview IPC2B18SS-ADF28KMC-I1. It's an 8MP fixed-lens bullet camera.
That's quite a mouthful. It is. And all the info we're digging into today, it comes straight from the source product descriptions, detailed tech specs, even the FAQs. Exactly the stuff you'd be poring over if you were actually thinking about deploying this kind of technology. So our mission today, let's peel back the layers. Let's find those really critical features that make this camera a robust, intelligent choice for today's demanding environments.
And understand how it delivers, not just what it promises.
Exactly. How it gives you those crystal clear insights and that active protection. Basically, we want to give you a shortcut to being really well informed about where surveillance tech is right now.
And what's really fascinating, I think, is that we're moving way beyond just talking about a camera. This is more like a sophisticated node in a bigger system, right?
Yeah,
An interconnected, intelligent security ecosystem.
that's a great way to put it.
It's not just about taking pictures anymore. It's about smart sensing. It's about real-time analysis. And yeah, that proactive intervention you mentioned.
And that term, intelligent sensing, that really hits the nail on the head. That's what sets these new systems apart. So let's unpack this thing. Starting with, first impressions.
Okay.
The Uniview IPC2B18SS-ADF28KMC-I1, the name itself gives a clue, 8-megapixel HD intelligent fixed bullet network camera. That word intelligent, it's not just marketing speak, is it?
No, definitely not. It's a core part of its design.
Mm.
It tells you straight away this is built for serious work, high-performance surveillance in commercial industrial settings. It's a world away from a basic camera you might stick on your porch.
Right. And that 8MP, the 8 megapixels, that's not just a number either. That's the foundation for how well it sees.
Absolutely. This camera delivers full 4K Ultra HD. That's 300/840 by 2160 pixels. Huge resolution.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a massive amount of detail. 8 megapixels worth, running smoothly at up to 30 frames per second. So if you need to capture really fine details, maybe a license plate, specific features on someone's face, even what's happening with machinery on a factory floor, this resolution is critical. It means you can digitally zoom into the recorded footage later on for investigation without it just turning into a blurry mess. You actually preserve usable evidence.
Okay. And that kind of capability, it puts it in a certain bracket, price-wise. The listed price is around $609 USD. So it's positioned as a serious tool for serious jobs.
That's right. It reflects the engineering and the features packed inside. It's an investment.
Now let's talk about probably the biggest headache for any surveillance system. Difficult lighting. Harsh sunlight, deep shadows, total darkness. A lot of cameras just give up.
Yeah, that's often the weakest link. But this Uniview model seems really designed to tackle that directly.
How so?
Well, this is where its engineering really steps up. It uses something Uniview calls LightHunter technology. And look, this isn't just about basic night vision. It's more about almost eliminating night as a vulnerability. Think about the difference between getting grainy, unclear footage where you're guessing what happened versus getting sharp, clear images where you can see everything, faces, plates, details, even when it's almost completely dark.
Right.
That's what LightHunter aims for. It sort of extends daylight-level clarity into the night, which is huge for security.
Okay, LightHunter handles the dark. But what about those tricky scenes with both super bright areas and really dark shadows at the same time? Like a warehouse loading bay door with bright sun outside but deep shadows inside.
Right. Classic high-contrast situation. That's where its wide dynamic range, or WDR, comes in. The specs mention a pretty impressive 120 dB true WDR. Some notes even hint at 130 dB.
And dB, that's decibels. What does that actually mean in practice?
Yeah, decibels. It measures the range between the very brightest and the very darkest parts the camera can capture simultaneously. And 120 dB, well, that's significant. It means it can handle extreme contrasts. Imagine being able to clearly see someone standing in front of blinding headlights and at the same time see details in a really dark alley next to them, all in one shot.
Wow. Okay.
So it's not just about avoiding those washed-out bright spots or blacked-out shadows. It's about capturing all the information across the whole scene, no matter how tricky the light is. Vital for forensics.
So when the sun goes down, even with LightHunter doing its thing, the camera still needs to see in the dark. You mentioned its night vision is pretty solid, Smart IR, reaching up to 40 meters, which is about 130 feet. That's quite far.
It is.
What makes this Smart IR different from just, regular infrared?
Good question. Smart IR is, well, smarter. Basic IR often acts like a simple floodlight. It blasts out infrared light evenly.
Right.
The problem is, things close to the camera get totally overexposed, just white blobs losing all detail. And things further away might still be too dark.
Ah, I've seen that.
Exactly. Smart IR, though, it adjusts its intensity automatically. It looks at how far away objects are in the scene and dials the IR power up or down accordingly. So it avoids that hotspot glare on close objects, but still makes sure things further out are properly lit and clear. It keeps the image usable across its whole night vision range. Really important for actually seeing what's happening at night.
All right, let's shift to the lens itself, the camera's perspective. This model has a fixed 2.8 millimeter lens. What does that mean for someone setting it up? What kind of view do you get?
A 2.8 millimeter fixed lens is generally chosen for wide coverage. It gives you a broad field of view, which is great for monitoring large areas like parking lots, open offices, warehouse floors. You get the big picture.
So less about zooming in on something specific from far away, more about seeing a whole area.
Exactly. It's designed for that wide-angle overview. Now, it's interesting. While the main product name says fixed lens, the FAQs do mention a motorized varifocal lens option of 2.8 millimeter.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a slight nuance. It could mean that while the focal length stays at 2.8 millimeters for that wide view, some versions might let you electronically fine-tune the focus or perhaps slightly adjust the framing remotely during setup without physically fiddling with the lens. Just adds a bit of installation flexibility.
Okay, let's move from just seeing to understanding. From passive recording to active intelligence. This is where this camera seems to really step up. It talks about smart detection features like crossline, intrusion, enter area, leave area detection. How is this really better than just basic motion sensing? Fewer false alarms, new insights.
This is where surveillance becomes genuinely proactive, And these aren't just buzzwords. They're about adding context. Basic motion detection is just these pixels changing. Could be anything: swaying trees, a plastic bag blowing past.
Right. Tons of useless alerts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But these smart features let you set up virtual boundaries. Crossline detection, for instance. You draw a virtual line on the screen, say, across a restricted doorway. An alarm only triggers if something crosses that specific line in the direction you choose.
Oh.
Intrusion detection does the same for a virtual boxed-off area. So you dramatically cut down the noise because the camera isn't just seeing movement, it's interpreting movement based on the rules you've set.
And it seems to go beyond just perimeter security, too. The sources mention intelligent people flow counting and crowd density monitoring. That sounds like it could be useful in loads of places beyond just catching bad guys.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
This turns security data into, well, business intelligence or operational intelligence. Think retail. People flow counting can track customer paths, show you which aisles are popular, measure checkout queue lengths.
Optimizing store layout, maybe?
Precisely. Or in a busy warehouse, maybe optimize how people or forklifts move around. And crowd density monitoring, that's huge for safety in public spaces. That retail complex scenario you mentioned, it can warn security if an area is getting dangerously overcrowded, help manage queues at entrances during events, maybe even predict potential bottlenecks before they turn into a crush. It really transforms the camera into a management tool.
And it's not just any movement it's looking for, right? It specifically mentions human body detection. How does that help?
That uses AI, deep learning algorithms, to specifically recognize the shape and movement patterns of humans. It learns to tell the difference between a person and, say, a stray dog, a car driving past, or even shadows in rain.
Okay.
So this is another big step in cutting down false alarms. Instead of getting an alert every time the neighbor's cat walks by, you only get notified when it detects an actual human shape. Security teams can then focus on real potential issues.
So, okay, you combine these really smart detection abilities, knowing what is moving and where, with the camera's built-in active deterrence system. This feels like a real aha moment. It's not just watching, it's doing something.
Exactly. This is where the camera stops being just a passive witness and becomes an active participant. It fundamentally changes the game.
How does the deterrence work?
So when one of those smart detection rules gets triggered, say someone enters a restricted zone after hours, the camera doesn't just silently record. It can immediately blast powerful white lights and sound an audible warning, like a siren or a pre-recorded message. Yeah. Imagine an intruder sneaking into a secure area, and suddenly they're hit with bright flashing lights and a loud warning. The idea is to startle them, make them think they've been spotted, and hopefully deter them, make them leave before they do anything.
So it acts like an automated guard almost.
In a way, yes. An intelligent sentinel on site, acting instantly to protect the area, even if no one's actively watching the feed at that exact moment. Gives you peace of mind.
That proactive ability, yeah, that really is a game changer. It shifts the whole focus from just documenting crime to maybe stopping it before it happens.
Okay, let's talk about the physical side. How tough is this camera, and how does it actually connect into a larger system? Because great features don't help if the camera breaks easily or is a nightmare to install.
Very true. And this camera seems built to last. It has an IP67 weatherproof rating.
Meaning
It's highly resistant to dust getting in, and it can handle being submerged in water for a time. So whether it's a dusty factory or outdoors and pouring rain, it's designed to keep working. Okay, tough against the weather. What about people trying to break it?
it also has an IK10 vandal-resistant rating. That's basically the highest standard level of protection against physical impacts, someone hitting it with a hammer, for example. It's built to withstand that kind of abuse, making it suitable for places where it might be exposed or unsupervised.
And getting it installed and powered up? Anything to make that easier?
Yes, a big one is Power over Ethernet, PoE.
Ah, I've heard of that.
It means you can run a single standard network cable, like an Ethernet cable, to the camera, and that one cable delivers both the power and the data connection back to your network video recorder or switch.
So no need for a separate power outlet right by the camera.
Exactly. Massively simplifies installation, especially if you're mounting cameras in difficult-to-reach spots or across large areas. Cuts down on cabling costs and complexity, though it also supports standard 12V DC power if you need that option.
What about storing all that high-res video, especially if the network goes down?
Good point. It has onboard storage using a microSD card slot. The sources mention capacities up to 256 GB. Some even say 512 GB. That's a lot of local recording space.
So it keeps recording even if the network connection drops?
Yes, that's edge storage. It acts as a backup. And it supports ANR automatic network replenishment. If the network connection does drop, it records to the SD card. When the network comes back up, it automatically transfers that missed footage back to your main recorder.
Smart.
Very. Plus, it can integrate with NAS network attached storage for bigger, centralized storage setups. Lots of flexibility and redundancy.
And fitting it into a system with other gear, maybe different brands.
That's where its integration features are key. It works with Uniview's own EasyView mobile app, so you can check in remotely, manage settings, etc.
Yeah.
But crucially, it supports ONVIF. That's the Open Network Video Interface Forum standard. Think of it as a common language for security cameras and recorders. It supports profiles S, G, and T.
Which means
it's designed to play nicely with other ONVIF-compliant devices, regardless of the brand. So if you have an existing system or want to mix and match components, this camera should integrate smoothly. Avoids getting locked into one vendor. It also offers API and SDK options for really custom integrations.
okay, we're talking 4K video, lots of smarts. That sounds like a lot of data. How does it handle that without clogging up the network or filling up storage drives instantly?
Yeah, that's a critical consideration. It uses advanced video compression. It supports Ultra 265, which is Uniview's enhanced version of H.265, plus standard H.265, H.264, and MJPEG.
And Ultra 265 is the key one.
It's a big deal, yeah. Compared to the older H.264 standard, Ultra 265 can reduce bandwidth and storage needs by up to 75%, sometimes even more, while keeping that high video quality.
How does it do that?
It uses clever techniques like variable frame rates, focusing bitrate on parts of the image with motion, region of interest coding, things like that. Basically, it's much more efficient at squeezing high-quality video into smaller file sizes, so you can record more footage, keep it for longer, and stream it without killing your network.
And finally, just its basic operating specs, temperature range, size. Is it built for tough climates?
Absolutely. The operating range is wide, from -30 Celsius up to +60 C. That's -22 Fahrenheit to 140 Fahrenheit. So freezing cold or baking hot, it should handle it.
Okay.
And physically, it's pretty compact, about 19 centimeters long, weighs just over half a kilo. So it's not overly bulky, easy enough to mount in various spots.
You know, all this tech, it makes you think about the bigger picture. We see this camera featured by a company called Alpha Vision, and they're apparently involved in using AI in the construction industry, even presenting at big security shows like GSX.
Right.
It feels like this camera isn't just a standalone gadget, but more like a key sensor feeding into these bigger, smarter AI systems.
That's exactly it. These advanced cameras become the eyes for broader AI applications. In construction, for example, that high-res video and smart detection, like recognizing people or equipment, can feed AI algorithms that monitor site safety, track assets, spot hazards automatically, or even check on project progress.
So the camera provides the smart data.
Exactly. The raw, intelligent data that sophisticated AI then interprets to provide insights, improve safety, boost efficiency, whatever the application is.
Okay, so let's try and wrap up this deep dive. We've really unpacked this Uniview IPC2B18SS-ADF28KMC-I1 camera. We've seen its impressive 4K imaging, boosted by things like LightHunter and that powerful WDR for tricky lighting.
Extending clear vision into tough conditions.
We dug into its really smart detection, going way beyond simple motion with virtual lines, zones, even counting people and spotting crowds.
And that human body detection for accuracy.
Right. And then there's that active deterrence, the lights and sound, which is a real shift towards preventing incidents, not just recording them.
Definitely moves it from passive to active.
And we covered its tough build, weatherproof, vandal-proof, easy setup with PoE, flexible storage options, and that efficient Ultra 265 compression to handle all the data. It really does seem like a powerhouse.
And, understanding this kind of tech, it isn't just for security managers anymore. It's about appreciating the technology that's increasingly protecting our spaces, both public and private.
Yeah.
And how it's streamlining operations in businesses, giving insights that, well, seemed pretty futuristic not that long ago. Hopefully, this dive gives you a good handle on what the cutting edge looks like right now.
Absolutely. And maybe here's something to think about as we finish. When you combine the super high-res imaging with AI smarts and active deterrence built right in, does that change what security even means?
Interesting question.
Are these cameras just observers anymore, collecting evidence after something bad happens? Or are they becoming, active participants, like intelligent, automated sentinels that manage and protect our environments, maybe even stopping things before they happen?
It certainly blurs the lines.
Yeah. And what does that imply for the future of our public spaces, our workplaces, as these proactive systems get even smarter and more common? Definitely something to mull over. We'll leave you with that thought.